Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Bill Feneely, joined now by our senior meteorologist, John Erdman. And John, I guess it's a real lollapalooza out there. How do we get a handle on the situation? I mean, the breadth of the storm is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. That's the interesting thing to me about snowstorms is not only how much snow it deposits in any one location, but the scope of the storm is incredible. And unfortunately, it's mapping over some very large population centers on the weekend before Christmas. So let's go ahead and let's look at that forecast. Here's our major snow swath. You can see all the way from North Carolina. We already have reports of 6 to 7 inches in Asheville already, Bill, and it stretches all the way up to Washington, D.C. It should start snowing there within the next hour or two, and then all the way up through Philadelphia, Long Island, and then southeast Mass.
Yeah, John, worth noting, too, you talked about Asheville with elevation, but I tell you what, even down around sea level, the cities like Washington and up the Maryland Turnpike, Wilmington, Philadelphia, just because you're near sea level does not mean it's not going to be a snowstorm.
Absolutely right. I mean, the track of the low is staying far enough offshore.
Right.
That cold air is staying put. It's not wrapping the warmer in from the ocean. So, yeah, this is a snow event. Pretty amazing for this time of year.
Yeah, you talk about once New York gets involved in southern New England, we're talking about what, maybe 50-odd million people impacted by this thing.
Well, that's the scope aspect of this, which is fascinating to me, Bill. If we look at this map, I've drawn a line along the snow swath that works southern Appalachians all the way up into southern New England. That's a swath of just under 900 miles of significant snow. And when you look at the population centers that are involved there, Bill, that is about 50 million people could be impacted. The population of the United States is around 300 million. That's 1 in 6 Americans are going to be shoveling out from this snowstorm, Bill.
And arguably the busiest interstate in the nation, I-95, has snow falling now all the way from the North Carolina-Virginia line right up to just south of D.C. already, and that's just going to expand in scope.
Absolutely. And then overnight tonight will be Philadelphia, and then we're going to be looking at New York City tomorrow, and then eventually certainly the South Shore of Boston, even Boston proper itself. So look at all the interstates that are affected. Of course, I-95, Bill, I-81, wow.
Yeah, I like the 81 option myself. I'm going to try, operative word, try to get up that highway next week later on. But again, less traffic, but a whole lot of long hills there. They build the interstate with the long hills in mind, but one long hill followed by one long downhill, not exactly a great combo.
Not a great combo, and also it could have impacts on the economy, Bill, if you can believe it, a storm that does this. And Kevin's going to tell us more about that.
Kev?
Super Saturday may not be so super for many retailers. You know, not only is the economy stressing out retailers, but a report today from the Wall Street Journal says this weekend's snow may have a negative impact on sales this weekend. Now, tomorrow, of course, the biggest shopping day of the year is looking not so stellar for millions of you, or at least one of the biggest shopping days of the year. And the bad weather may not only make some consumers want to stay home, but it may also shorten their shopping list altogether. Analysts say that people are less likely to venture out, meaning they're less likely to do spontaneous shopping. You know, it's when you go out there and you do that first quick buy item. You didn't plan on it, but you end up getting it. Now, the good news is that all the news isn't bad. The snowy weather is helping some sales in cold weather gear, including things like shovels and ice scrapers. So let's have a look at the forecast here across the country, and let's start on the East Coast. And this is what we're finding for our Super Saturday here as retailers begin to head out tomorrow, and you'll find that we'll be dealing with pretty pleasant weather conditions in Boston, albeit a little bit on the chilly side in Beantown. Temperatures generally in the 30s, but no snow there initially, early on, but the snow will move in later. And then as you head down towards places like New York City, watch that snow coming in, especially late in the day. Temperatures will be in the 30s. Remember, there's that blizzard warning up for those of you out on Long Island, so that snow will continue to move in, and it will become heavier as the day progresses, especially towards evening. So you might be okay if you get out there in the Big Apple, you know, you hit Fifth there and get out early in the afternoon. Also, of course, you can go to weather.com. Coming up next, we'll have clues on the Where Am I Weather riddle.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Winter Wallop here on Weather Center with Cantorian Steel. I'm Bill Keneally here alongside, also filling in, Kevin Robinson.
That's right, a lot of this that we saw early in that video going on this weekend.
A lot of white knuckle action.
It is, and what a start to the weekend. You know, it's a week before Christmas here. Let's go live now to Chris Warren as he's in Roanoke, Virginia. He is live with us this evening. And, you know, Bill, I guess the only upside of this really is the fact that it's snowing tonight and not...
I think Courier and Ives would be very proud of that backdrop. Chris, how's the traffic doing out there?
Well, the traffic from where we are has been moving along okay, but you have to keep in mind, we're looking at a major interstate down below. We're about 200 yards or so away from the interstate, Interstate 581, and we've been seeing crews go by, we've seen plows go by. I talked to the Virginia Department of Transportation earlier, and they told me they were out pre-treating it, putting a brine mixture down there, so a salt mixture down on the road, so it's less likely for the snow to form an ice layer. It makes it easier for the plows to, you know, take the snow off the road. But, you know, you get a lot of snow in a short amount of time, and it's tough to keep up with all the roads, especially the side roads. And I put the ruler in here a little while ago, and we had about 4 to 5 inches. And, of course, this is not official measurements by any means, but this is what you're going to encounter if you go outside here in Roanoke. What I want to do here is we're going to wipe a little part off, and we're going to be out here for a while, and we're just going to kind of clear an area and, you know, check the time here, and we're going to see, you know, how much we get in the next couple of hours here, because it's coming down pretty steady. It's been coming down pretty good, as it has in many spots around much of the Northeast. We've been watching the snow move on up from the south. So this is something that's going to be impacting much of the Northeast and in a big way as well. Tennessee has already been seeing the snow. Parts of North Carolina have been seeing the snow. So the wintry scenes we're seeing out there are going to be common tonight and into tomorrow for much of the Northeast. Here in Roanoke, we've been watching the snow come down since about 2:15. Now, on average in December, get about 3 inches on average. Now, we talk about the record for a day in December, 14.6 inches back in Christmas 1969. If the forecast comes true on the high end here, we could be seeing 15 inches. So we're talking about a lot of snow that's on the way. And if you live in this area or much of the Northeast and you're seeing snow, do not try to head out in it. Wait it out. Let the road crews do their job. That's what the Virginia Department of Transportation are telling me tonight. Just let them do their job and let the roads get better before you head out.
Chris, the best news of all this is hitting over the weekend, so schools are already out. What's the pulse of the people? What are they saying? This has been a snowless region the past couple of years, so to speak.
Well, you know, a lot of them really weren't believing it at first. You know, some people we talked to last night were like, oh, we'll get a few inches, the roads won't be a problem. But then as it gets closer and closer, they're like, yeah, okay, we're starting to believe it. And this morning we were already getting lots of reports of, you know, early closures. So this is something people are definitely taking seriously, even though it's something they haven't seen in quite a long time.
All right, Chris Warren, if that's not reality behind you, I don't know what is. So, folks, it's the real deal. All right, again, Kevin, the Washington area, probably our next metro in line, probably about 2 hours out at best.
That's right. So we're talking heavy snow. We're talking about snows that a lot of folks haven't seen in quite some time. So that's going to be an added danger into this region.
Okay, watching for that and also making headlines at this hour.